It is. Most people don't feel like it is working for them. And that's primarily because of what I just mentioned. The biggest changes occur when you see me in the hospital, and it should be occurring way before that. So, the second question I want to ask, I want to just start off with is why do we feel like the system is broken? What frustrates you the most about having to get good, affordable health care?
A lot of it is because accept whatever the doctor tells them. They don't go into questions and ask in detail or let them know what's going on. I don't have a problem with my child because I communicate with the doctor. I told her I don't want pills, I want the cause, correct the cause. But so many of us, I don't know, I guess we're afraid to ask or whatever, but we don't go in details with our doctor, but you have to let him know what's going on because he's not a magician. You got to explain things, sit down, take things, ask questions. So I think that's a lot of the problem.
That is excellent. That is excellent. Let's hear from someone else. And if I can, I want to say we are going to touch upon one, the complexity of healthcare, the personalization of healthcare. I've been in healthcare for over 35 years right now, and the issue is we've changed a lot from then, from your doctor being more, as we used to call it, paternalistic and telling you what is best, to now knowing you, and that's a big difference. Next, what frustrates you?
What frustrates me is, especially being in prevention, um, are naturally reactive rather than proactive. We're sending patients home that are sick, not giving them, or we are, but they're sick. Lack of follow, lack of when they get home, not giving them, stay healthy, do not come back.
Absolutely. The key to healthcare, and I've heard it twice now, and just into the key to healthcare is engagement. It is, every day your body is changing. I don't know what happened when I hit 40, but literally it came real when I got up out of bed that morning that my body is changing. And how do we react to those changes? Do we wait till it breaks down? Do we create a culture around how do we keep it in the best physical shape? Because, the one thing we do know is, there are no magic bullets. When something happens, and something will happen in all of our lives, our bodies are not meant to be eternal. Our soul is, but our bodies are not. But when something happens, is our body in the best possible shape to take that insult? Okay? And we can't wait until that point in order for us to actually address that issue. So, again, what frustrates you? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Taking my question. It frustrates me because the communication between doctor, auxiliary help, some say this, somebody else say something, and then they say, well, we'll get back with you. I've stayed little 10 days and nobody got back with me with my answer. And then another thing, I go home needing, let's say, a wound care, and they say, this particular organization's come and they're going to take care of your wound. Well, nobody show up. So being in the healthcare system myself for 32 years, I end up doing it myself. But then I don't have nobody to call because I am so tired of calling and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, that's another piece. That's another piece where our healthcare system is broken because there are many, many, many partnerships, many handoffs. And the one thing that I learned as a practicing physician, it is that every time you hand off care from one to the next, a little bit of the story is lost, a little bit of the piece is lost. And so, as much as we can act as a single integrated, at least to the patient, a single integrated system in which everybody, when you tell me something, it's just as good as telling the nurse, the home health care manager, so that we don't have to continually reinvent the wheel and things get missed and dropped when we move from one place to the other. Incredibly important. Yes, ma'am.
I think that one thing with the healthcare is broken is because of money.
Mm.
Money changes everything. I can speak for myself. I got sick and I was in the hospital for a month and in ICU, but because I had made a decision prior to when I got sick, my doctor, who had had over 1,000 patients, changed his practice to become an MD PIP and only took 600 people. Of course, it takes money to do that because you got to pay them extra above the insurance. And I found that I get excellent health care now that I'm paying half of my income, being retired. I got to pay $300 every quarter to him, and then I got my insurance, then I got to pay the extra couple of $100 to have that, and to be able to have this plethora of information available to me. I am now able to, I could have been gone. I had to get 10 pints of blood, 2 pints of plasma. They had to go down in me 3 times to fix something. And if I did not have this stuff, I probably wouldn't be here today. And because of having that doctor, without having to have the practitioners, and most of the places now you go in, you got one major doctor and maybe 2 or 3 other people that are really not doctors. I mean, they're good, but they're not the doctor. And they got to refer to the doctor and give him a message or her a message. And then things water down, and it comes back to the drug pushing. You got all these people, they pushing their drugs, and the more samples and things they get to their doctors, they must be getting kickbacks or something. I don't know, but it's all into money here now with this health care. It's tied up with the dollar, and the more dollars you got, the better health care you're going to get, and that's not fair.
Wow, y'all have already done the presentation for me. This is this is good because you speak about something that's near and dear to my heart. And let me say you're right. I hate to admit it, but because that's not where I'm coming from, but you're right. In the United States of America, when I first went into medicine over 30 years ago, they said that there is anticipating to have a major loss of primary care physicians and a decrease number of specialists in order to handle the care that is going to be needed by the baby boomers who were coming on at that time. And so, being a young physician, I said, well, that's where I need to be, right? Internal medicine, primary care. The also being a young physician, you didn't realize exactly what you're saying. With all the patients that are out there, how do you deliver the care with when not enough people are actually going into medicine? And in America, you know, there is supply and demand. You figure, what can I do? And I want to do it the best that I can for the greatest amount of people. But in that part, does anybody get left out? And that's where it really came to be, especially while I was in Charlotte, it was, no, nobody should get left out. How do we create equity within healthcare? Everybody that seeks to have, you know, care, we all want good care for our bodies. We want to be able to see our children, our grandchildren grow up. We want to be healthy as we do that, but how do we do that? And so, so that actually is the question. And let me tell you, I'll also go into that during the presentation, because part of this is, what is the mission of that provider? What is the mission of that healthcare system? Because there are two different camps. There is, let me provide care for those who I can, and then there's a camp of, let's provide care for all God's children. And I think that that's a really important point that we're going to bring up today. So I don't want to get too far behind here, but I appreciate your honest and open feedback. You don't know how much that helps us to improve what we do, because every day that's what our goal is. I'm going to talk to you about the future of medicine, though. If you could put our slides back up really quick. We will run through. Actually, is there a clicker as well? Is there a advance? Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, yes, that's fine. All right, next slide. This is what we just discussed, and so keep going, our next slide. So designing care that meets your needs, what does that mean? When we're talking about that, we're talking really about these three things here. Making it affordable, because if you can't afford it, you're going to avoid it. Making it accessible, can you find it? Where is it out there? Do I have the resources? Are the resources available? Can I connect myself with it? And then making it personal. You've mentioned all three of those as frustrating things with our healthcare system, and that's why we are looking to redesign what we do, because these are the three main goals. I put it up there even before, obviously, we had this discussion, and we know that those are an issue. Next slide. So this affordability piece, we did have this, you know, as a question. Number one is, most people don't understand how much health care costs. You know, and that's good and bad. I mean, that came about because of Medicare, and we realized post-World War II that we couldn't continue to, you know, bargain for our health care. That paying out of pocket wasn't necessarily reasonable, and so we had assurances and insurances that helped us to pay for that care. But, you know, just like, you know, my kids, when I pay for something, they really don't care how much they spend. When they pay for something, all of a sudden it becomes real to them. And so that's just human nature, right? But this idea of affordability in healthcare is more than that, because we're not buying things, we're talking about buying health. right? And health is not a commodity. Health is not something that I can just manufacture. These are people's lives. And so, one, it is being transparent. And I think that's something that we are challenged with, and that in the future, you will be able to see better. You will be able to see, this, just like if I went to Publix, this is how much one thing costs, this is how much another thing costs. Number two, with affordability, it is being open and honest. Not everybody has the same ability to pay for that care. And so if we know, that means that we will make different recommendations, not necessarily lesser recommendations. I want to clarify that, because different recommendations determines by what that person wants. People have commonly come to me and said, hey, I want to be able to, fix my diabetes. Some people are very motivated to eat differently. Some people are very motivated to exercise. Some people are very motivated to lose weight. They were like, I will do anything I can not to be on a medication. That's a personal decision. And we need to take that into account when we're making that treatment plan, so that it is sustainable. And that's that engagement that we're talking about. And that's the engagement that we were talking about with our very first point here today. So yes, different recommendations can come out, because now it's not paternalistic. I'm not telling you what the science says. I'm telling you what you're actually going to want to sustain and do. And so that's another thing. Transparency, personalization, in order to be able to get to affordability. And the last thing is going to be waste. Whenever I do something or prescribe something that you're not going to do, or that don't need to do, we've wasted dollars. And that waste is also a waste of time, a waste of energy. It takes away hope of whether or not we're actually going to improve your individual situation. And so because of that, if we tackle affordability from those three things, so that I can get the best treatment plan in the best price, that's when we start pulling away some of those frustrations. And I can tell you one other thing too. There's no individual person or system that can pay for their health care in the United States at this point. It is a truism. I've seen people who have retired early and have come out of retirement for one reason, because they could not afford their own health care. Okay? And so it is the biggest benefit of a job, and understanding that job also creates, that people don't necessarily work because they, let me tell you, most people work because they have to, but the reasons that they have to are not just because of the income. And that means going on till 65 when there's other alternatives. So this idea of personalizing healthcare, do they know me? How does the system know you, right? Well, one, it has to be integrated. So as I mentioned before, if I tell one person, does the next person know, or do I have to tell this story to every single person? That's where the EMR stands for electronic medical record, is something that every person, every senior, everybody who wants to invest in their health care has to know. And that electronic medical record, because of the Affordable Care Act back in 2012, said that these electronic medical records are going to be out there. It's going to be the property of the patient, and that we from the healthcare community have to put information in there. Before that, you had to request your medical record. You didn't know what I wrote in the medical record. Now you do. The best information that you can have on your own health stands in your patient portal. And you've got to involve yourself in that to make sure that it is right, because that's what's being communicated across the board, right? That patient portal, everybody, if there's one thing that our seniors need to be able to understand, is either you or someone in your family has to be on that patient portal. It has your medications. It has why you have those medications. It has the diagnoses that people think that you have. It has the treatment plans. It has all of those things, who you're supposed to be seeing, who's supposed to be coming to see you, all of these things, when your appointments are, what they said at those appointments. And now it's not just what happened, in the outpatient world. It is day to day on the inpatient world. Since COVID, that same patient portal can be used for you to talk to your doctor. I used to have patients that came in at 6 o'clock in the morning, or family members who came in at 6 o'clock in the morning because they had to go to work and they were trying to figure out when I was going to come see them. Now, since COVID, we can do that electronically. And so that is a very, very important part of what you need to be able to do. But also, and I have to say this, there's a trust issue. You've got to put the truth in it, because it's, when I talk about waste, if we've asked the question and haven't gotten the right answer, we're going to go down the wrong street. Okay? There is no shame in some of the things that we are going through on a daily basis just to be able to survive in this high-cost world that we live in. But if we're not, and being in a hospital is the time, or even being a patient is a very vulnerable time. But if we're not honest and open and sharing with that, then we can't get at the important pieces that we need to address. And so what's in that medical record, and how you answer those questions is absolutely important. Our next slide. So, the care that we are looking to have at Lee Health every day when we start, when I go to our safety huddles and I talk to our staff, these are the things that we're looking to do. We're looking to have the highest quality. We are getting better and better and better every day. And top 14% in the nation is all that they can award us. That's the highest that they can award us, but that's not all that we can be. Every day we can get better and better. We want it to be affordable. We want it to be personalized. We want your engagement. But now we're actually looking at it a little bit differently. Before, we had said, we want you to come to the services that we have. We have these services here, come to it. We want to take that next step. We want to bring those services to you. Our next slide. So, how do I get the care when and where I want? I've touched on many of these, so I'm not going to go too much more because I want to leave some time in the end for some questions. But, there is a complexity of our healthcare system because it's not integrated today. There are lots of handoffs, and every time there's handoffs, there's, as I said, information loss. It's also not very convenient. It's built around schedules that don't focus on the patient, which makes it challenging. If I've got to go to work so that I can have health care, and then at the same time I'm receiving my care doing that work time, it's a conflict, and people go through these conflicts every day. But COVID, for all the bad things that happened during COVID also allowed us to change very, very quickly. Instead of changing over decades like typical, and let me just understand, physicians and healthcare changes slowly because the consequences of making a mistake are high, okay? And so COVID really made us learn how to do two things: still change quickly and do it with less error. But it would mean that we're doing things very differently. When I came up, if you did not actually, place your hands on a patient, it was heinous. In COVID, we learned that, yes, from a good history, from understanding, monitoring a patient, and from some radiologic pieces, we can get enough information in order to make great clinical decisions, and just simply by talking to the patient, spending more time on that. We're going to go into some of our new hospital stuff, and technology will allow us to actually do things that we have not been able to do in the past, excuse me. And then, as I said, mobile health. We'll talk a lot about this, whether or not it's the computer or whether or not it's a bus coming to your neighborhood, bringing it to you, is how we're looking to get the care when and where we want. Next slide. So these keep going to our next slide, social determinants. Oops, I think we missed out on that one. So social determinants. Let me spend a quick second on social determinants. Social determinants of health are 80% of what determines our wellness, our overall wellness. And that's something that really shocks people, because most of the time people say, well, I go to the doctor gives me, a medication or a treatment plan, I do that treatment plan, I should get better, right? Yes, but that's not real life. The real life talk about what are the social issues that keep us from doing what we want to do. And really, when you go to your doctor now, as of 2024, when you come into the hospital now, they'll ask you about 5 things. They'll ask you about food insecurity. Do you skip meals, and why? And do you have enough money to pay for food? Number 2, housing. This is, again, been from Washington, D.C. to Charlotte. Florida has the major problem with housing insecurity. Do I have shelter? And when you have that, healthcare changes. When you don't have that, healthcare changes on a whole different level. The third is, can I pay for my utilities? If you can't pay for your utilities, you are unlikely to be able to pay for your medications or your follow-up care. And so that's what those are the types of things that we need to know. And when you have a problem with that, do you have transportation? Yes, it is easier in this day and age for us to have you come to the hospital, and if that's not possible, right, we need to pull other things to you, because again, this isn't about the people who can do, it's about nobody getting left behind. And so we need to know if you're having transportation problems. So that's the 4th question that they'll have. If you have problems with transportation, with paying your bills, with food insecurity, with housing insecurity, there is going to be stress in your life. And unfortunately, people manage stress in their life in different ways. The most concerning and heart-wrenching for me is abuse. We see domestic abuse, we see elder abuse, we see unnecessary ills that come upon people's health because of these stressors and the real life that they're leading. And so we need to know about these. Now, these are incredibly personal questions, right? But if you don't seek help for these things, there is no medicine, there is no treatment plan that I can do to help you. That's where that engagement comes in. it is so, so important to let somebody know who can help. So let's go to Fort Myers. Let's go to Fort Myers, and I'll run through these pretty quickly because I'm going to tell you, next slide. I'm going to run through these pretty quickly because I think that there's a lot of stuff that we have here in Fort Myers that the future of healthcare is going to look really, really good in Fort Myers. But I want to put it in the context of how big of a challenge this is. Hospitals are closing across the country, and hospitals are closing basically because of these three things. Increasing business costs, especially in this area. Day-to-day supplies costs have gone up. You're getting larger around cities, which means you're hiring more staff, which means you're trying to create competitive wages. All of those things make it very, very challenging for you to maintain costs low. And then new hospitals. We have a incredible hospital that's near and dear to our heart, that's providing incredible care, but the technology has changed, and you got to keep up with that technology. It's like being able to try and write a paper with a typewriter these days. You need a computer, right? The technology has changed in order to be able to maintain that quality. And today, for every hospital bed to build costs about $3 million. $3 million. So if I was going to build another Lee Memorial, let's just say, another 300-bed hospital, it would cost close to $1 billion. So we got to figure out how to do this differently. At the same time, everybody's realizing that healthcare is very challenging and costly, and so the insurance companies who pay the hospitals, they're decreasing their reimbursements because they don't want to pass that on to the people who they're insuring, which are you. And so all of these, so at one point it costs more, at the other point it's less to come in, and then more and more people, as I said, are having social challenges that they can't afford to pay, but still need care. And so there's free care that's going out there as well. So that's why hospitals are closing. We are very fortunate here at Lee because we have saved a lot from the past. We've reinvested in a lot and kept things up. It's challenging, but it's still, we have grade A financial stability. And so that's a one very, very positive thing that we have looking for our future, which means is that we can grow. So next slide. So keep going to our next one, please. Thank you. I know we had a question of the business model that we had. The business model that we had was around public and private, and I'm going to skip over that because I know Dr. Antonucci spent some time with everyone having that discussion, and if there are questions, I'll be happy to entertain them. But the one thing that I do want to say about our public and private question that's coming on, it's about who runs the business. Public, run by the government; private, run by basically Lee Health, the executives of Lee Health. And the difference is really there's four advantages. One advantage is that when you are private, you get to pick who's on your board. Your board now, or our board now, is elected. There are elected officials around the country. Healthcare is around the county, Healthcare is very complex, and the board needs to be able to have resources from other people around the country and partnerships with other people around the country in order to be able to really advance itself. As I said, I was in Charlotte. I was actually part of a public institution that became a private institution. And the biggest change was, you know, instead of having, in addition to having local groups, they had national business leaders and national, banking leaders who helped them to pull money into that community. So the second advantage that I see with the private piece is that we are able to deliver care outside of Lee County. We're regional. We actually do take patients from all over the region. In fact, 20% of our patients come from outside of Lee County. When they go home, we can't extend care into their communities because we're only allowed to do so within Lee County because we're a government-based organization. And the other piece to that is a concerning piece. The third piece is that it's concerning that healthcare today has become more politicized. It's just the truth. What you can even ask, patients when they come in, what you have to ask patients when they come in. The politics in healthcare is becoming really important now. Should that be involved in treatment decisions? We don't allow that to happen today, but more and more the rules that are coming down that you have to follow as a public institution becomes more challenging to work around. So, with that, we do have some, and I'm sorry, the last thing I said, there was 4 things, and there are partnerships. The partnerships that we can do as a private institution is different than the ones that we can do as a public institution. So those are the 4 big things that I think about, having lived through this in my previous life. But I think the large part that we have to have a understanding with this private and public piece is it's all about who runs the business. It has nothing to do with the business itself. And when I say that, I mean we are talking about the not-for-profit. That means that all of your profits go right back into the community. That does not change. That's not even on the table, okay? So that's not a part of this discussion. The other thing that's not a part of this discussion is whether or not the mission changes. We are at what we call a safety net hospital. That means we will, and continue to take whoever comes to the hospital and deliver care. And as I said earlier, that's not going to be true of all the competitors that come into this market. Competitors come into a market where there is a safety net hospital because now they don't have to do that. They can just look at some of the patients in that market. And that's a difference. It's a difference in philosophy. So we are at a defining moment. We're a defining moment within Lee Health where we can actually make some incredible changes. And one of the incredible changes that I want to talk about is the new hospital. Because as I alluded to, we have Lee Memorial Hospital where many people were born, many people have worked, as an icon of our community, is getting older and unable to do many of the things that will be required 10, 15, 20 years from now. But hey, when it was built back in the 60s, it was literally state of the art and doing things that were not common in healthcare at that time. We are looking to recreate that environment in our new hospital. In our new hospital, we are having a state-of-the-art community hospital that will be able to be a center of innovation, deliver care in ways that we've never been able to do before. We will have, as part of this, a integrated musculoskeletal institute, and it will connect with the community. It will not just be a place that you come when you get sick. That whole campus will be around how do we deliver better health care. Go ahead to our next slide. This is what that campus is going to look like. It is between Colonial Boulevard, Challenger Boulevard, and Winkler Avenue. We will try our best to change one of those names. I definitely don't like Colonial Campus, and I don't like Challenger Campus, and so we are trying to figure out, and we will involve our community in what we call it. But what it will be, it will have multiple things for our community, not just a hospital, and that hospital will be expandable. It will allow us to connect with the community in a different way than we do today. But it'll also allow us to expand as our community expands, up to 400 beds. It will have medical office buildings. It will have outpatient surgery. It will have what we call post-acute nursing or rehab facilities. It will have a hotel there because we figure that we will need places for when people want to come and be with their family members, or come for services that are outpatient and be able to stay. It will have daycare, retail, parking. There are lots of walking trails. It will be a place that we're trying to, over time, make for our community, not just a business. And so this will take years for us to be able to do. We're going to start in 2027 is when we're hoping to be able to open the first phase, but that phase will continue to grow and modify for decades to come. So next slide. This will be the base of it. It will be a high-tech smart room that's built for patient safety. And part of that is all of this high-tech information here that I won't go through, but let me go to our next slide because this is what it's going to be able to do for you. When we say connecting with our patients and promoting safety, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about your family not having to come to the hospital to know what's going on, but the room being able to connect with your family wherever that may be. That you don't need someone sitting in the room with you, that virtually we'll be able to use cameras and sensors to be able to keep you safe and know when you're about ready to get out of bed, when you need something, when you have a question. We'll be able to do our nursing and rounding information and even our physician consults without having someone having to go to each individual place, but be from a central area, including our language interpretation, because we know that there is a very diverse community who speaks many different languages here. Artificial intelligence will be built into this, and it will have what we call a whiteboard. What it really is just a communication board that will tell the patient exactly when their studies are, what the results of those studies were, and connect the patient with the care that they're receiving, including when their medicines are due next, and what their medicines are that they're being given. Most importantly, it will be voice assist. So instead of the nurse or the doctor or even the patient have to type or write out things, just like Siri, you can actually have voice assistance within the room. So this is all going to, again, take the care that we have today to our next level. Next slide, please. There are other projects, though, not just the Fort Myers campus project, but in Cape Coral, we have the Veterans Health Center. that's coming about that's going to expand our care to our patients in the Cape. We have created, after the hurricane, the state came to us and said, hey, we have a problem with delivering care in communities, especially during hurricanes, but just in general, especially in some of our more remote areas, and so they say, what are our solutions here? And basically what we're doing is we put a clinic on a bus and being able to, instead of having you come to that clinic, that the bus comes out to you. And we're doing that in Lehigh. And lastly is hospital at home. There are things that with technology, we don't have to bring into the hospital anymore, which means that it's less expensive. It means that you get to be in the comfort of your own home, and it also means that you actually recover faster as part of that. We can deliver care, we've learned since COVID, in the home, and it's called hospital at home. Truly things we used to do in a hospital that we don't have to do now, and we are embarking on that journey this year. Next slide. So I'm going to end up with, now those are all things that we're doing now. The future is here now, but I'm going to tell you about 3 things that you will see in your lifetime in the next 5 or 10 years that are really, really cool, at least for the nerd physician up here, about healthcare. One is this idea of artificial intelligence. Well, the artificial intelligence, just like anything, is going to have its good parts and it's going to have its parts that we're going to have to monitor. But the really good part is that connectivity with the patient with specific information about your health care and to help you learn what the best things for you to do is part of the artificial intelligence network that we're out there. The other thing is helping us as providers. Reading those chest x-rays, not missing small things that can be picked up by a computer that's more challenging, reading all of that and helping to make treatment plans that are more personalized. That's another part that artificial intelligence will help us with. And the last one is processing new data. New research is coming out daily. And because of that, we're able to say, what is the best treatments based upon the newest data? And then also we're going to be able to say, what can you do when you're taking a look at large populations? Is everybody receiving great care, or is part of the population receiving outstanding care and other parts not so much? Those things, that's how artificial intelligence helps us to be able to become more specific around the care that we're giving. So that's one piece. But the other piece is, as I say, we're going to have a musculoskeletal institute. Something you will see coming in the future is this thing called 3D printing. Right now we make joints and things like that, and even organs based upon, what the average person size is. And no one's average, right? And so now with 3D printing, we can actually make one more personalized for you, whether it's the hip joint, the knee joint, or even an organ like a heart or kidney. Those things are being done. And then last things is genetics-based treatment. Now these all things sound scary, I know, but genetics-based, treatment, we've already started thinking about, like people who have breast cancer. There's a gene called the BRCA gene. And we know that if you have the BRCA gene, your risk of breast cancer, even if you don't have any nodules right now, is very, very high. Well, being able to do simple tests like genetics and then correlate a lot of other diseases, not just breast cancer, but a lot of other diseases with abnormalities in your genetics to help know, hey, maybe this blood pressure medicine for you is going to be better rather than another one. Those types of things will help us be more accurate with how we treat patients. So these are the things that I get excited about, not just building new hospitals and technology, et cetera, but how do we actually deliver in better outcomes. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your participation. I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming out. Just simply being here is encouraging because, again, this is the engagement in healthcare that we all need to make our community more healthy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Thank you, guys. We are running a little bit behind schedule, but we're going to keep moving. And thank you guys for being so gracious and being with us. Some great information that we heard from Dr. Brown today. So thank you for that. Who wants a $50 Visa gift card? All right, let's give away some stuff, some money and some stuff.
I need a blue ticket. Raise your hand. We're going to get excited now because we're going to give away some gifts. Raise your hand if you need a ticket. We will. Are we ready? I read it. I get it pulled first. $50 ticket. Numbers are 148. 148. 148. No. Someone got it back there? Woo! We need to see the ticket. We need to see your ticket. We got to see it. 148. He's legal. $50 gift card. Gone. Now we're going to be doing a Publix $10 gift card. Publix. Number is 144. Anybody have 144? Going once? Twice? Gone. Next ticket. Somebody got it? Okay. Okay, we're still going to move on to the next one. The next number is 161. That's it.
Okay, thank you, ladies. We do have, after our next speaker, we have some more $50 gift certificates, some other items. Our last speaker, that's a $100 gift card along with some other stuff. So we want to make sure that we have that. So once again, we have Lynn Carlson coming up who will introduce our next speaker.
Thank you. Oh. Okay, collecting those tickets. Who feels lucky today? So as I said earlier, I'm happy to be here today to introduce a couple of my colleagues. You heard Dr. Brown, and now you're going to hear from Dr. Jelena Horsford, who I've gotten to know Dr. Horsford for several years now, and she's amazing. If you haven't met her yet, please go and talk to her after she's done speaking. Dr. Horsford completed her medical degree at St. George's University in Grenada, West Indies, and her family medicine residency at the Florida State University Lee Health Campus. She also completed a fellowship in global health with the Florida State University Lee Health Campus, where she was able to serve as junior faculty to the residency program, and she traveled on missions trips to Peru, Grenada, and Kenya. She's dual board certified in family medicine and lifestyle medicine. She currently serves as a primary care physician at the Lee County Healthcare Clinic in Dunbar, and she's had the privilege of being a part of the Barbershop Wellness Community Outreach Initiative at the Utopia Barbershop in Dunbar. Her motto is, "We don't treat diseases, we treat people." Her passion is helping people achieve their optimal health physically, mentally, and spiritually through whole person, patient-centered care, lifestyle education, and community service. Please welcome Dr. Horsford.
Morning, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Thank you, Lynn, for your generous introduction. All right, I want to get right into it. The church. So if I mention a couple of churchy things, that would be okay. Is that right? Okay. I was glad when they said unto me, "Let us go into the house of the Lord." Here we are this morning on Saturday. Thank you for coming out. I want to talk about your physical health, yes, but there are some other aspects of your health that I think maybe are a little bit tucked to the side, and I want to bring that into the relevance of taking care of not just your physical body, but the other aspects of you that impact your physical health as well. So I'm in family medicine because I like too many things. Essentially, I couldn't say I just want to focus on the heart and be a cardiologist, or just focus on the skin and be a dermatologist. I like too many things, so here I am in family medicine. So we're going to touch on what affects the entire body. If anyone, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Feel free to just shout it out to me. If anyone can think of what might be the number one topic that people write songs about and make movies about and write novels about, what might be that topic that comes to mind? Love. That was easy. Absolutely. Love, right? We start talking about it from the time we are tiny and little, and we say, "Oh, I got my little nephew says he has a girlfriend." I don't know what he's doing with a girlfriend in elementary school, but apparently it's a thing. And really, love is something that unites us, that it helps us to live better, live well. And since this is a health and wellness expo, I wanted to make sure that we talk about wellness in its totality. So yeah, love and relationships is the thing that really we hear about a lot in the music we listen to, the movies we watch, the books we read. Hopefully we still read. I know a lot of people don't do that too much. But I want to make sure that I talk about the heart. And if you've been to the Barbershop Wellness program, which is at the Utopia Barbershop right here on MLK on the first Saturday of every month, from 10 to noon. This is a shameless plug for this wonderful program. We will be there. And one of the things I've talked about is this very topic, and it was so important to me that I wanted to bring it to you as well. So, the heart we have here pumping inside of our body is obviously what is keeping us alive. We know if that thing stops ticking, we go hit the floor, yes? But there's also the heart that we write about in these songs and whatnot. And even though we know that when we're talking about the heart, we often go to the heart that's here, but it's really the mind, right? The heart itself doesn't feel, but it's the mind. You love people with the way that you think about them, the way that you want to help them, etc. So it's the mind. So I want you to know when I say heart and I point here, I'm talking about mental health and those kinds of things. And when I say heart and I point here, I'm talking about the physical heart. Anyone know what the number one cause of death is in the United States and has been for the last 50 plus years? Heart health, that's right, heart disease. And I want to briefly talk to you about what heart disease is and why it matters, especially here at this Senior Expo. Some examples of heart disease are heart attack, the most obvious, but stroke. Does anyone in here know someone that's had a stroke in their lifetime? Absolutely. It's a huge deal, and it's all a part of the same disease process, which is cardiovascular. We get the term cardiovascular because cardio referring to this pumping machine here, and vascular referring to the blood vessels or the pipes that get blood where it needs to go. So we've got a pump, we've got pipes. I don't know if we have any plumbers in the room, but if you have ever gone to, let's say, a job and you know that inside those pipes there's a lining of calcium and whatever else gets in there, lime and rust, after a while, the water is not going to be able to make it very well to the shower head and the bathroom sink, etc. Similar with these arteries that line, that are in our bodies. We need blood to get to the brain. If it's completely blocked off, trying to get to the brain, we call it a brain attack, AKA stroke. If it's completely blocked off, trying to get to the heart, we call it a heart attack. It's the same disease process, just in two different parts of the body. Do we see how it's the same disease in two different parts of the body? And so I want to talk to you a bit about why these things are so important. The average age, however, I just want to mention, of heart attacks and strokes is around 65. So here at this Senior Expo, or Expo of the wise and elderly and beautifully silver-haired individuals in our community, as I would like to call it, this is important for you all because this is the thing that is often taking us out and getting rid of our wonderful grandmothers and grandfathers and people in the community in need. So I want to invite my wonderful Vanna White, or shall I call him Vanna Brown, to help me really quick with a little demonstration that will just give you a visual of what I mean by diseases of the pump and the pipes. This is my husband, by the way, Michael. So I want you to pretend with me that this is the pipes that's going, through your body. It has to take blood from the heart all the way to your brain, to the tips of your toes, all of those things. Now, you may not be able to tell, but if you look straight through here, you should be able to see me because it's completely open, or patent would be the nice medical term. It's open. So if I wanted to use it like a little child and have a telescope, I can see you because it is open. How do we end up with heart disease? Well, when the lining on the inside of here, like the pipes in your house, if you have really bad hard water or something, when things start to stick to the sides of those, we start to get issues. And the equation that creates this is inflammation in the body plus high cholesterol equals plaque building up in these pipes. Okay, inflammation in the body plus high cholesterol equals plaques building up in these pipes. And I know I'm far away, so it's hard to see, but if I were to open this up, this would be like a healthy artery is what I'm trying to demonstrate. The inside is nice and smooth, and things can flow through the way that it's supposed to, and nothing gets stuck on the walls of these arteries because it's healthy. This is the way that it's supposed to be. This is when you go into some of the areas of the world where heart attack rates are the lowest. This is what their blood vessels look like. However, in the United States of America, wonderful place where we have lots of luxuries that are sometimes not too beneficial to our health, end up with the lining of our arteries a little built up with plaques. The lining can get a little sticky, and when it's sticky, things will stick to it, like what? High cholesterol, etc. The cholesterol floating through your blood bloodstream. And the walls of the arteries actually start to lose their integrity, the ability to do what they're supposed to do. And that is so important because as it starts to do that, like I said, the inside becomes sticky. So we're going to pretend that these little, I don't know, I got them from the dollar store. I don't know what they are, but these little fuzzies are high cholesterol and high blood sugar, whatnot, floating through your bloodstream. And they will stick to the walls of your arteries. And so after some time, you might imagine that maybe it's not completely blocked, but that nice hole that I was able to use before, that's good, thank you, and be able to see you, I can't really see you anymore. It's pretty blocked up in there. Now, blood is still going to be able to flow, but how many of you think it's going to flow as well as it did before? Definitely not. And so here's what happens. This is all heart disease, right? Cardiovascular, the pump and the pipes. Here we're talking about the pipes. When this happens, blood that has been trying to get to your brain for the last 20 years that this has been going on, maybe not have had a stroke because it's not totally blocked, just partially. What happens if you start to feed something less and less and less? It will shrink, right? Your brain is trying to get enough blood, but it's not receiving all the blood it needs, and it will actually shrink. We see this on people's MRIs of their brain. We call it vascular dementia because the vessels are causing the brain to receive less blood, less food, less nutrients, and so your brain actually shrinks. And then your memory is not quite as sharp as it was before. Your ability to reason is not quite what it was. Thank you very much. He'll be back a little bit later. Could we give him a round of applause? Your ability to think how you did before is not quite the same. And so this is all a part of cardiovascular disease. Now, we talked about inflammation plus cholesterol equals plaque buildup. Anyone, can you think of anything in your life that might be a source of inflammation to your body? Inflammation, anything. Sugar, absolutely, especially added sugar in the things that we eat, right? Or if you are someone with diabetes, you want to keep your blood sugar normal because if you hang out in the 300s and whatnot, that high sugar that's floating around in your blood is going to promote inflammation, okay? Anything else that you can think of that's going to promote inflammation in the body? Ooh, yes, so I'm going there. I'm going to just stick a pin right in that, but I'm going there. Anything else that you can think of? Salt. Salt is definitely a big one. What about things like high blood pressure? Yeah, high blood pressure will do it. Yep. What about things like processed foods? Yeah, processed foods will definitely do it. And I want to make a quick side note on processed food. If the thing that you're eating looks nothing like the way it looked when it came out of nature, probably should not eat it. So for example, meat, right? There is a cut of the cow that is the, sirloin or the rib or whatever the case is. But does anyone know the part of the pig called the bologna cut? Oh, I don't know that cut. Okay, so that is heavily processed. So your things like bologna and bacon and sausage, there's no sausage cut of the meat, right? The amount of processing that had to go on to make it into these nice tubular, whatever you want to call it, structures is what is actually going to promote inflammation in your body. There's going to be a lot of salt in there and a lot of chemicals in there. You want to stay away from processed meat, especially things like bacon and sausage, because we know that they are cancer-causing things. That's a whole nother topic. In short, processed food, things you want to stay away from because it will promote inflammation in the body. And as we said, inflammation plus high cholesterol equals plaque buildup in those arteries. Now, someone mentioned stress. Thank you so much for mentioning that. I'm going to say this phrase a number of times, which is this: the health and wellness of the heart directly impacts the health and wellness of the heart. And the health and wellness of the heart directly impacts the health and wellness of the heart. The two are very much interlinked. So if you have come out of this thing called COVID, we know mental health has really shown itself to be essentially a whole nother pandemic after the pandemic. A lot of people are struggling with depression, anxiety. Does anyone know anyone that is struggling with depression or anxiety post-COVID? Yeah, I think we all have at least seen it, if not experienced it. And it's a big deal. When we have lots of anxiety or depression, it does impact our physical body. And part of the reason is we have stress hormones. Anyone heard of epinephrine and cortisol and those kinds of things, right? So if, for example, a panther comes in through those back doors, right? And we all see that our lives are in danger. I don't care if you have not been in the gym in the last 3 years, you will suddenly be the fastest version of yourself than you have ever been, because those stress hormones kick in and will fling your body through the nearest exit, even if you have to step on someone to do it, right? That's normal. That's normal because there is a moment of stress, there is a stress response, and then there is recovery. When you make it to your car and you're down the street, you can finally, right? But when you have depression and anxiety, there is only constant elevation in those stress hormones. And we know that that is what's going to promote inflammation in the body. In addition, if the panther runs through here, right, you're not thinking about what you need to do. You're simply doing, you're reacting. It's not until afterward where you realize, oh my goodness, I really did step on Sister So-and-so's toes, and I really did leap over the chair like I was an athlete. Afterwards that you process what happened. Similarly, when you're in constant anxiety, constant depression, your ability to think and reason is actually impaired. You're struggling to even just reason normally, to remember what just a minute ago, what did I walk into this room for? What was I supposed to finish before? All of those things are altered because the hormones within your body are completely out of whack because you're constantly in a stressed state, high stress hormones. So we see that will promote inflammation, which will affect this heart, all because this heart has been affected. This is the result of chronic stress. Now, that's a depression and anxiety. I want to say there is one emotion that we know is really strongly tied to chronic stress. That emotion is anger. Yeah, that emotion is anger. And a lot of times people, they think depression means I feel sad all the time. But that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times depression shows up in different ways, like I'm a little bit more than I usually am. I'm a little bit more short-tempered. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind within 2 seconds of you looking at me the wrong way. Sometimes depression shows up like that. And we know that this bottled up, pent-up anger will also be a strong predictor or informant when you have a lot of that you actually do have chronic inflammation going on in your body because of high stress hormones. And since we are in a church setting, I would say even this: unforgiveness is strongly connected with that sense of resentment and anger in the heart. So whatever so-and-so did to you 30 years ago is going to be important to your heart health and your heart health that you learn to give it to Jesus. Can I get an amen to that? Okay. Now, I want to continue on because especially within the community of our older, wiser, elderly, I don't know what the right term is for it, but all of the above, right? Our grandmothers, grandfathers, and community grandparents. Loneliness is a big thing within as well. A lot of times, individuals, they have raised their children and sometimes their grandchildren too, and now they're off doing their own thing and you're home with no one to check on you. No one is coming to you to have that sense of community, which is 100% necessary as human beings, right? None of us are no man is an island, as the old saying goes, right? And so loneliness, physically speaking, the brain perceives loneliness similarly to how it perceives chronic pain. Okay, I want you to let that sink in a little bit. I know some of us, especially if you've been a caretaker most of your life, you're so used to giving that you're not really used to the feeling of allowing someone to pour into you. So I can be by myself today and tomorrow and for a week and for a month. No, loneliness will impact your heart health, which will impact your heart health. Okay, so that's not something that you want to allow to happen. And then the last thing I want to say as far as stress and heart health of this topic is screen time. Is there anyone in here that does not own a smart device? I don't think I can. Anyone's hand will go up. The key to this part is actually distractions. So if you realize that you cannot get a task done without getting a text message, an email, or remembering that you started to watch a reel and that you forgot that you want to go back to, distractions has an impact on the brain. I will also say that when you scroll through social media and you can't look at anything for more than about 10, 30 seconds before you're like, I want the next one. I want the next one. And where's the next laugh? And where's the next whatever it is? That's also your brain not being able to hold attention. You're training your brain not to hold attention for any longer than about 30 seconds. I'll tell you why this is dangerous. When we see this pattern of behavior, this training of your brain this way, distractions, constant change in the scrolling, there is a part of the brain called the anterior cingulate gyrus that shrinks because you're not exercising it. Why is that part of the brain important? It helps regulate your emotions. What happens if you spent the last years, or let's say you're a 10-year-old who has spent their entire elementary life just scrolling, or you're in college and you've done this all the time, or you're an older person and you have so many emails coming in all the time that you can't finish a single task without jumping to the next one. You're training your brain to not be able to focus, and it shrinks that area of the brain, which makes it more difficult to regulate your emotions. Anyone think that that might lead to some things like depression and anxiety? Yeah, we've already established that this heart health, such as with depression and anxiety, will directly impact this heart health. So even with our screen time, we have to be very intentional on what we do. Now that I've said all of the bad, I'm going to bring Vanna Brown one more time, talk about the good. So just the one long noodle. So the last time we looked at these pool noodles, we talked about what promotes the plaque buildup. Well, I want to talk to you as well about what will help to break it down. Now, there is no magical pill. There is no magical pill. There is no fast fix. When we talk about health and wellness, we're talking about lifestyle changes. This is the way that you live your life. Why? Well, because it's the way that you live your life that caused the problem in the first place. So it's got to be the way that you live your life that will fix it as well. There is not going to be a workout program that will get you there in 2 minutes or a pill that will get you there by tomorrow. It's going to be the way that you live your life. And since we're in a church, I will say, anyone heard the verse that says, in all that you do, do everything as unto the Lord? Amen. So if I have that third Big Mac, I highly doubt that it's as unto the Lord. All right? So hold this up here. So these are our plaques, right? When you have a low inflammatory diet or an anti-inflammatory diet, it starts to happen over time, and there's lots of research to back this up. What starts to happen is that these plaques start to be taken away. All the inflammation that was helping it to stay there will begin to, the anti-inflammatory components will begin to remove them. Go ahead. And so what you start to see is eventually you can actually clean up the plaques that are especially in the heart. Because if the arteries that are trying to give the heart blood get completely blocked, like I said before, that is a heart attack. And if the arteries in the brain get completely blocked, that is a brain attack, aka stroke. We want to prevent those, right? And so as you eat more and more, let me ask you this actually. You're good. Thank you very much. That's his last showing. Thank you very much. And one more round of applause. He's been excellent. As we have an anti-inflammatory diet and we have anti-inflammatory life practices, we start to see those plaques clearing up. Can anyone think of things that we eat that are anti-inflammatory? Vegetables, fruits, turmeric. Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, what do all these things have in common? Where do they come out of? Nature, the ground. I am not trying to tell anyone that you must be vegetarian or vegan, because that's not everybody's calling in life. I get it, no big deal. However, what I will say is that everyone, every human being, and I believe this with all of my heart, every human being on the planet should have a plant forward diet. What do I mean by that? This. When you go to a restaurant, most of the time, the things that you see on the menu are the chicken section, the beef section, the pork section, because our meals are essentially based on the meat. And then when they bring it to us on the plate, half the plate is the meat, right? And the other, most of the other half is probably some carb, a rice, a potato, something like that. And they may sprinkle in two broccolis in the corner somewhere and say that's your vegetable. How backwards is that? Meat does not have anti-inflammatory properties. It does have cholesterol, plenty of it. This is why we have to limit how much meat you have on your plate. Not that you have to eliminate it, but you should limit it. If you have lots of heart disease, you have to go a little bit stronger with that, but at least limit it about the size of a palm. If there are any, just the palm. If there are any large men in here that can hold a basketball without dropping it like this, then probably not the size of your palm. Find the nearest woman and look at her palm. About the size of your palm so that you can fill the rest of your plate with plants. One thing that you guys didn't mention as far as anti-inflammatory things are things in the bean family. Beans, chickpeas, legumes. I love Indian food. Dal is made of lentils. Those are things that are also going to be nice and anti-inflammatory. Someone mentioned turmeric, also called curcumin. It's an anti-inflammatory spice. There are lots of things in nature that will help to promote the removal of those plaques from those arteries. Now, as I get ready to wrap up here, I do want to make sure I give you a moment for questions. As Ms. Lynn was mentioning before, I did get board certified in lifestyle medicine. And there are 7 major pillars within lifestyle medicine, but I boil it down to about 4. And there are how you move, how you consume, how you cope, and how you commune, okay? Essentially, the way that you move, the way that you consume, the way that you cope, and the way that you commune. And when we look at the blue zones around the world, so the blue zones are where people, there are pockets of people on Earth that are living to over 100 years old, and still riding a bike, still managing their finances. They don't need a cane, they don't need a walker, they still have all their limbs, right? These are these areas where you have a lot of those individuals packed into these pockets around the globe. And whether it is the culture in Italy, where you find them there, or in Greece, or in Okinawa, Japan, or in Loma Linda, California, some things that they do, they have a lot of things in common, and it's these 4 things. They move regularly, right? We love our vehicles, that's great, and in Florida it gets hot, yes, but we've got to move on a regular basis, move our bodies. I try to tell people, the less you move, the less you move, okay? You got to keep your body moving. They also consume well. They eat lots, mostly plants. Not that you can't have meat, but it's got to be mostly plants. Why? Anti-inflammatory, which also has lovely anti-aging properties as well. Ladies, if you want nice glowy skin, that you consume will impact that as well. They also cope very well because they have a sense of purpose every single day when they get up, whether that is something as simple as to reach the person down the street, take care of their children, to go out into the field and farm, whatever it is, there's a sense of purpose in their doing. And lastly, they commune. All of them have community. They get together, whether it is every week at church or daily with their families, because we don't let grandma go into a home, even though someone can take care of her. Not that that's wrong, right? But when the family can be a part of life, of the lives of their elderly, they will do that, right? And it's just a normal way of life. So you have to take these 4 things into consideration on a daily basis and say, how well do I incorporate good practices in these 4 areas? Do I move well? Am I consuming well? And that by consuming, not only by what goes into your mouth, what goes in through the eyes, yes? Am I coping well? Do I have a means of coping? And am I communing with my family and my community? I want to tell you a quick quote from the American Heart Association. They did a study that concluded this. The study has found that stable relationships at midlife is a better predictor of being healthy and happy 30 years later than cholesterol levels. I want to say that one more time. The way that you have stable relationships at midlife is a better predictor of being healthy and happy 30 years later than cholesterol levels. And I will, I love my colleagues. We like numbers, but numbers are not everything, because I cannot measure your happy and healthy relationships, yes? But if you have healthy and happy relationships in your life, and you have to take inventory of that as well, because what impacts your heart health will impact your heart health. The last one that I want to mention is from the longest study of well-being, this being a wellness expo. I had to bring this up. It's from Harvard, and it concluded this: the key to well-being is deep relationships. And the reason is this: if you know someone that eats well, will you eat well with them? If you know someone that moves well, will you move well with them? If you know someone that gets together on a regular basis and plays bingo or dominoes or something like that, will you not do that as well? If you know that you can rely on the person that you call your loved one, does that not enrich your life and reduce your stress level? It's very true, even not just from a spiritual or theoretical standpoint, but literally your blood pressure goes down, the inflammation in your body goes down, your heart rate goes down. It is incredible what you can do when you start to follow some of these lifestyle principles. If you have, for example, dare I say, the fruit of the Spirit, like love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and gentleness and self-control. Man, this old book has been telling us these things for such a long time. Okay? And I want to leave you, lastly, with an old proverb. I hope some of you recognize it. It can be found in the same old book. It says, a merry heart does good like a medicine. I can't pill a merry heart for you and tell you to take it 2 times a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. But a merry heart does good like a medicine. But a broken spirit dries the bones. We've had the knowledge for a very long time. My last comment, we've had the knowledge of what we need to do happy and healthy for a very long time. But what has come to my attention, especially the more I study lifestyle medicine, is it's not what you know that matters. I know people say knowledge is power. It is always what you do with what you know that matters. Okay? So what I want to leave you with is this thought. If you knew that you can change your entire life, you can improve the amount of pain you feel throughout your body, you can improve your energy level throughout your day, and all I had to do was give you a pill to do it, would you take it? 100%. What if I told you you have the pill? It's what you do with your life every single day. You can choose to isolate, stay in bed, do nothing, neglect your prayer life, neglect your family, neglect your own health in the name of I have better things to do or I need to help people. Or you can choose to put these principles that we've known about a long time into practice on a daily basis. Like I said in the beginning, there's no magic pill, but there is a recipe. We've all known the recipe. And I really hope and pray that you put that recipe into the oven, into the stove every single day. And I'm done. I have about 5 minutes. I have about 5 minutes for any questions before I step away.
You have more than 5 minutes if you need them. Dr. Brown used up some of your time, and we're giving it back to you. So if you have a few things you want to say before you wrap up, feel free to do that. But we will open up the floor for questions at this time. One question I was asked about you is, how do they reach you? Did you bring business cards?
I did not bring business cards because my business cards have my name spelt wrong. So if you try to search for me, you will not find me. But Miss Lynn has my name. You can reach out to her. I'm happy to chat with any. I actually have to go shortly after this for another church activity. But you can always look for me at Lee Health. I do work for Lee Health at the Lee Community Healthcare in Dunbar, right on MLK, because this is the community I want to be in. Okay, so no insurance, little insurance. You have insurance. We see everybody. So please. I guess the last thing I would say about this is please get your regular annual checkups. I know sometimes we feel like, I don't want to know, I feel fine, I'm doing okay. Feeling fine and doing fine are two very different things. Okay, high blood pressure, especially within the minority community, is very, very prevalent. And high blood pressure is called the silent killer. Why? Because you don't feel anything until pop goes the artery in your heart, pop goes the artery in your brain. Like we said, heart attacks and strokes, those are the things that kill people the most. So I would be a team with your doctor to promote your health and wellness.
Floor is open for questions. Okay, then let's give her a wonderful round of applause. Thank you so much. A lot of really great information. And as you guys heard, she is at the Center on MLK. Girl, you good. You are good. We were just so blessed with your knowledge, so thank you again. And so now we are about to have our drawing. Okay, I was just told she's located in front of the old Sable Palm building. Is where her office is. And I'll get her contact information from Lynn. So those of you who have contact with me, I'll make sure you get her contact information. Time for some drawings, and I need a hollerer at the door. Okay.
Y'all ready to get some prizes here? First prize is 539. Oh. Where's the speaker? 539. Going once. No 539. 498. Woo!
My phone is in my pocket.
Publix $50 gift card. Let's see that ticket. Let's see it. That's the one we just pulled. Okay. Now we're going to do another $10 Publix gift card, and it is 509. 509. I got it right here. Our next gift that we're going to raffle is a wireless speaker. Who want to win a wireless speaker? If you have ticket 495, you just won a wireless speaker. And I have it right here. Woo! You're welcome. So that's the drawing for now. We'll be back later.
Yeah, that's for that $100 Visa gift card. I want that one. And some other stuff she's raffling off as well. Okay, so we are ready for our next speaker. I love all of our speakers, but I have a special like for this one. She's one of ours. All right, and we have Susan Wood, I think, is the Sarah Wood. I gave you a new name, and you're going to introduce her.
Still, good morning, everybody. Good morning. So today I'm such an honor, and I'm so blessed that I am here, part of the Senior Expo, right? And I have a special speaker, which is she is my business partner, And she's in the business because she has a mission to help everybody here in the community, just like Dr. Horsford said. So we have people that we have to reach out and we have to give them education. And he has her own life experience that we don't want any in our community be left behind. So, well, no furthermore, and please have a big warm welcome, the one and the only Delisa Smith. Come on.
All right, hello everyone. As you know, those who don't know me, I'm a jokester, so I got to thinking last night about getting older and what I was looking forward to. So the one thing I'm looking forward to when it comes to getting older is a good benefit. As you age, you and your friends age, your secrets are always safe with your friends because they can't remember. Okay, what does the moon and dentures have in common? They both fall out at night. Y'all, that was funny. Come on now. Listen, don't let old age get you down, because it's going to be hard to get you back up. When you get older, you realize that you've been there, you've done that, but you don't remember what that was. But you're not getting old, you're just getting classic. And it is such an honor to stand before you as you get older, because you become what I look up to. And so, as Sarah said, I have been a part of WFG for about a year now. The reason why I joined the business was because when my mom passed 8 years ago, she did not have a life insurance policy. And so I had to tap into my 401k. And because of my young, tender age, I was taxed. And 3 years ago, I lost an unexpected lover. He passed away from brain cancer without a life insurance policy. So then I realized that this was a generational thing. It wasn't just my family, but it seemed to be a generational curse. So I said, in order to change this, I must be the change. And I like WFG's model because we believe in bringing Wall Street to Main Street, and we believe in leaving no family behind. So can we get some slides up there? I am going to bring back up Sarah. She's going to do the first part of the presentation, and then I'm going to come back and give you guys some solutions. So Sarah, my business partner, has been in the business for 3 years. She is a great mother, a great wife, and a great partner. She teaches me all that I know, and we are a tag team. So without further ado, will you all give it back up for Miss Sarah Wood?
Thank you so much. Thank you. So anyway, well, is she great? Yes, she is. So that's why. So when I told her about what we're going to do, that we're going to help a lot of people, she was in tears. And I found out about her mom's story. So that's why our mission, so no more tear and no family left behind. So this is our goal. So our company is one of the top 200 Fortune company in the world. So we have the parents company, which is Aegon Financial Aegon Financial Group, Transamerica, and World Financial Group. And our firm is Axianda Financial Partners, which is actually based in California, but now I'm here. So now we're gonna have our base location here in Southwest Florida to serve everybody here, okay? And this is my new home, and I'm not gonna go anywhere. And I'm not Californian anymore. Now I'm Floridian. Actually, I'm from Thailand originally, so you can hear my accent a little bit. And so I call myself Sarah, but my name actually Surang, if you would like to call my Thai name. Okay, so next slide, please. So I'm here because I have a lot of young people here would like to know about Medicare. And I have heard a lot of questions. What is the Medicare, Medicaid? And people just thinking about like they are the same. So that's why we're going to learn a little bit about Medicare. And you have more questions or anybody wants to talk further about health care or Medicare or financial services, I would like to welcome everybody to come to our office here in Cape Coral. And when we have a campaign of No Family Left Behind. So every visit, after we do financial needs analysis and also health analysis, so we give out $20, and now I change to cash because at first we would like to do $20 Visa card, but I think we don't want to do the Visa card anymore. Cash is better, right? You agree? So can you get back to the slide? So let's get to know the Medicare. So next, please. So what is the Medicare? So Medicare, is the federal health insurance. So of course, federal getting involved, some of good stuff and some of bad stuff. But we learn and, just learn and use the best of the services that are available. So of course, I want to make sure because a lot of people are confused that Medicare is free. It's not free, okay? And Medicare is not a family health plan. It's individual health plan. And it's not the Social Security benefit. However, you have to get the original Medicare, which is I will talk further in the presentation from the Social Security, okay? And then it's not a Medicaid. So, next. So what is the Medicaid, right? So I have heard a lot, and I'm trying to actually, help people understand there is Medicare and Medicaid. So Medicaid is the federal and state assistance that help people and family who have lower income to get access of free health care, okay? So to be able to be eligible to have Medicaid, the first quality, you have to be qualified as a lower income, okay? And you can have both benefit with Medicare and Medicaid. We call dual eligibility. So you can get a lot of help from the government through Medicaid and Medicare. So if you have more questions how you can be qualified to receive Medicaid, come to my office and I will help you. We're gonna apply to the program and help you if you're qualified. Next, please. So who can get Medicare? So people think that when you are 65, right, next, when you are 65 and you will be qualified to get Medicare. However, if, the Medicare has two parts, right? So for people who are older than 65, and if you are disabled, so it means if you are younger than 65, you will be able to get Medicare if you are disabled and receive SSDI, which is Social Security Disability Income from the SSI. Or you have been diagnosed as end-stage renal disease or the kidney disease, or ALS. All right, next, please. So, and just like I said, so if you're qualified to receive Medicaid and Medicare, you can have dual benefits together. And next, please. So what does Medicare cover? So this is a big question that lots of people are asking me. So we have Part A and Part B. So if I'm going too fast, and you can have questions and ask me after the presentation. So the Part A is the hospital care. So anything that happened in the hospital is falling under the Part A, okay? And Part B is the medical care, which is anything that outpatient care. So when you have blood tests, procedures, or anything outside the hospital is falling to in Part A. I'm sorry, Part B. So next. So for example, for Part A has, hospital room, meals, and prescription that's prescribed in the hospital, and also lab tests and x-ray or whatever inpatient cares that happen in the hospital. And next Part B is the medical insurance or medical care, which is whatever doctor visit, to see your PCP, primary care doctor, to see your specialist, to have special care, to see Dr. Ford, and to see Dr. Brown outside the hospital. That's falling into Part B, which is the medical insurance, and also calling the ambulance, the durable equipment, and also mental health care. Next, please. So, Medicare. People think that, okay, so I have been paying a lot of taxes for years, right? The government will take care of me until the rest of my life. So that's not true. Medicare doesn't cover everything. And I just want to mention about this because it's misconception, okay? So Medicare doesn't cover all the cost of your health care. There are some co-pay, co-insurance, some of the plan paying monthly premium, deductible, and some of the costs that you have to carry out of your pocket. So also, it doesn't cover the prescription drugs. You have to pay for some of the drugs and some of the premium, and it doesn't cover dental care, doesn't cover vision care, doesn't cover hearing aids, hearing care, and it doesn't cover long-term care if you have been sick for more than 90 days. You're on your own, and you have to pay out of your saving or out of your pocket. And it doesn't, some of the plan might cover outside the United States, but most of the plan will not. Next, please. So now, where can I get more coverage? So there are two options. So option one is paying the prescription Part D, which is drugs, and buying Medigap or Medicare supplements insurance. And option two, you will have Medicare Advantage, which is Part C. It covers medical and also hospital care plus prescription drug. And additional benefits, including dental, vision. Some of the plans will help you pay over-the-counter items, vitamin supplements, or pay for your groceries. Some of the grocery bills, that healthy stuff, most of the company will not allow you to buy chips, but you can get that, some of the bills paying off for free, including in the package with the Medicare Advantage Part C. And yes, and next, please. So, and I just want to talk a little bit about Part B, prescription drug. So there are two options, which is you can get Part D included with the Medicare Advantage, or you just buy the Part D prescription drug standalone. Next, so for the prescription drug, so you have to pay monthly premium. It depends. It started from $12, $15 up to maybe $100 a month, and you pay actually co-insurance or pay some of the cost of the medication. It depends on the tier. So tier one usually is the generic medication, which is usually $0 or maybe $2, $5. It depends on the medication. As it go up higher, like specialty, some of the specialized medication, like cancer treatment or cancer medication. Next, please. So next is the Medigap. So Medigap or the Medicare supplement, so you pay, of course, monthly premium, and it's gonna help you, just like you are buying health insurance, but this is through Medicare because it's was aiming to the customer that's 65 and older. So you have more coverage than the younger clients. So you have the coverage that can help you pay for the Part A, which is hospital care, and also Part B, and some of the deduction and some of the traveling outside the country. However, all the plan, like this Medigap coverage, is not gonna cover prescription drugs. So that's why for the option one, you have to buy prescription drug and Medigap. And it doesn't cover dental, vision, or hearing care. And it doesn't cover long-term care. If you get sick longer than 90 days, you are on your own. Next, please. So now this is some of the example of the Medigap. You will see, that's why it's so confused. It's so confusing because it has a lot of letter, right? So you learn about letter A, letter B, letter C, letter D, and now we're gonna use the word plan. Is not part. So I understand because English is not my first language. So when I saw this, I just love it because like I'm just learning ABC again. So this is plan A, plan B, D. It's just different. So what type of coverage? You will see it. Some of the plan will cover 100%, some only 50%, some only 75%. So, and some 80%. And some of the plan, only two plans right now, which is Plan K and Plan L, offer the maximum out of pocket. What does it mean? Maximum out of pocket means during that year that you have the coverage, you will not pay more than the maximum out of pocket. So like Plan K, you will not pay more than $6,940 for that year, which is 2024. So for the plan that doesn't have the maximum out of pocket, it means whatever that can go up high, it has no limit. And that's why you have heard some people are bankrupt. Why? Because of the medical bills. So, yeah. So when we choose the plans and we choose the options of the care, you have to sit down, and that's why we call health analysis. I'm not going to ask you, and I have no right to ask you about all the details of, what do you call, personal information because it's illegal. However, we will sit down and we talk about what you need each year, and we will help you get the best health care each year. Okay, next please. So now we're going to talk about Part C, which is Medicare Advantage. So Medicare Advantage cover hospital, medical, visit with the doctor, including prescription drug, and also including all the extra benefits, just dental, vision, hearing aids, right? Hearing care, and including free fitness membership because we would like you to be proactive. You have access to the gym for free. And just like some of the plans give you some amount of over-the-counter supplements, vitamins for free, maybe $75 a month, $25 a month. It depends on the plan. And some of the plans give you free groceries, $200, $250 a month. Okay, so and some of the plan with Advantage, Medicare Advantage, will help you pay for the Part B, which is I'm going to talk about this cost next. Next, please. Okay, that's it. Yeah, this is how much it's going to cost, right? Next, so we have option 1 and option 2, right? You remember. So option 1 is the Medigap plus Part D prescription. So both of the plan, you have to pay monthly premium plus deductible. Some of the plans co-pays and co-insurance. So the cost of Part D prescription drug plans, starting from usually right now about $13 up to $100. It depends on the plan you choose. And for the Medigap, it's starting from $160 up to close to $500 a month. And don't forget, Medicare is not free, so everybody has to pay Medicare Part B, okay? For the Part B right now, it's $174.50 a month. So that's gonna be deducted from Social Security check every single month. However, some of the Medicare Advantage, which is Part C, they will cover and pay back. We call the gift cashback program. Some company will give up to $165 to pay on Part B. So it means you don't have to pay $175 a month. You only pay $10 a month on Part B. So you have more money back to your Social Security check to use for something else. So, and usually Medicare Advantage Part C will have lower monthly premium or zero. And you have some deductible, but most of them will have zero deductible and also have some of the copay and co-insurance. Okay, next please. Oh, however, Medicare Advantage Part C, every single companies and every single plan will have maximum out of pocket. Means you will not pay more than the maximum out of pocket, which is some of the plan to 2,900 or some of the plan about 6,000 a year, 6,900. So this is, I just want to summarize one more time about option 1 and option 2. However, you have to enroll with the Medicare first when you are approaching 65. You will be eligible to enroll in Part A and Part B and have original Medicare. And then next step, you will choose the plan that's gonna meet your needs. Next, please. All right, and when can I enroll, right? Yes, next. So when you are turning 65, you have about 6 months between. So you have 3 months before and 3 months after you turn 65 to enroll. And what happened if you miss that deadline? Next, please. So if you miss that deadline, you will still have general enrollment period, which is run from January to March. And then when you have original Medicare, right, you have to do that first step, right, original Medicare Part A and B, and then we're gonna sit down and we help you choose the right plan for you. And you have the time to enroll from April to June. Next, please. Okay, and for the Medicare supplements, about the same. So they give more time for you if you want to choose Medicare supplements, which is Medigap, right? So when you turn 65, you have about 6 months to enroll in this plan without health exam. So if you have pre-existing conditions, they will not consider as adding on to your premium, because if it's later than 6 months after you turn 65, some of people that have pre-existing condition might have to pay higher premium for the rest of their life. So you have some type of certain window that you have to reach. I like people like right now like confused. So you're confused, give me a call or stop at my office. So when should you enroll and when should I know everybody don't want to miss the deadline because actually there are some penalties, but don't be afraid. Everything's gonna be fine. Okay, we're talking about penalty next. Next, please. So yep, about penalties, if you enroll late and you missed the deadline, so the penalty is gonna add it on. So most people will get Medicare Part A for free if you work in the United States for 40 quarters or about 10 years. Everybody will have $0 on Part A. But I have seen some people have to pay on Part A too. And I mentioned earlier that Part B is not free, and right now it's $175 a month, right? So if you enrolled late and miss that deadline, you're gonna carry 10% penalty, adding on 175 of each month that you missed. Okay, yes, and it's for the rest of your life. And if you missed the deadline of Part D prescription drug, it's gonna add it on 1% to the regular premium for the rest of your life. Okay, so just be aware of that. I know some people like, is that Medicare? Is that real? Is that, I thought it's Medicare is free. This is what we have been paying a lot of taxes, and the government will take care of us. Yeah, but it is not 100% right. So let's move on to the next one. So, yes, you can change your coverage every single year. So we have the window about October 15 and December 17, and you will see on the TV, right? Commercial on the billboards everywhere asking you to look into your plan. And give me a call when it's that time, and we'll pick the best plan for you and save you some money, and you might not have to pay $175 a month. Next, please. All right, and what is this one? Oh, this is the open enrollment. So we should start until January to March. And we also have special enrollment next, which is, we are lucky that we have quite some hurricanes, right, all year. So we have special enrollments, and now into August, the end of August. So you still have time to change your plan if you are not happy what you are having right now. So we can sit down and we can take a look what is the best option available for you. And next, please. I think that's it. So I mentioned before, Medicare doesn't cover everything. And you have been paying lots of taxes for this year, and you think that the government will take care of you. But if you are sick more than 90 days, what happened, right? What's gonna happen? And only one person, and she's the only one who understands this problem the most, because she faced it to herself, her family, and her loved ones, and she will explain it to you. How can you survive after 90 days without paying out of your pockets, and you will not lose all of your saving? Here we go, Delisa. Get back to you.
So what happens after 90 days? You have to go into your pocket. You have to have savings. But we have a solution for you. Next slide. So compound interest. Has anybody heard of compound interest? You have? Albert Einstein said that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Those who learn it, earn it, and those who don't, pay it. So I don't know if you guys can see the screen, but I'll try to explain some of the numbers here. Now, these are different types of places that we keep our money. So at the age of 29, when it comes to compound interest, basically how long does it take for you to double your initial investment? I'm 29 years old, not really, but at 29 years old, I put $10,000, let's say, in a bank account. It would take me 72 years for that $10,000 to turn into $20,000. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not gonna cut it for me. Now, let's say 4%, a CD. It will take, at 29, you put 10,000 in, it would take you to 47 for that 10,000 to be 20, and then by the age 65, it'll be 40,000. Now we can help you with some investments. That same 29, the same age of 29, you put that $10,000 in with a 12% return. At the age of 35, you have 20,000. By the time you're 59, you have 320,000. And then when you're 65, you could have over $600,000. I don't know about you, but could we all use $600,000? All right, next slide, please. So long-term care coverage can be cost efficient, but it's to help you protect yourself, your assets, from the cost of long-term care. About 75% of all single people and 50% of couples spend their entire savings their first year of being in a nursing home. Next slide. But you should know your options. Healthcare does not cover long-term care expenses. Medicare, it may cover a portion of the long-term care, but only up to 100 days. And it has a requirement that you have to be in the hospital for 3 consecutive days under treatment. Next slide. So, how does long-term care benefits, how are they paid? Well, they're not like reimbursements where you have to submit your bill, wait on it to get back to you, then the insurance company reimburses that exact amount, so you're not really getting ahead. And each month you have to wait to see what is being covered. Long-term care, indemnity, you never need to submit a monthly bill. You don't even need to present receipts. And once the insurer qualifies you and it meets the 90-day elimination period, the company will submit a check to the policy owner each month. And we have clients that receive about $5,000 a month in long-term care. Next slide. All right, so what are the odds? Changes of financial risk from a house fire. That's 1 in every 1,200 people. Chances of financial risk from long-term care. That's 1 in every 2 people. Around 70% of Americans that are 65 and older will need long-term care at some point. Doesn't necessarily mean just a nursing home. I think it's, what percentage is that? It's a high percent that have home health care. Next slide. Oh my goodness, this slide here. Baby boomers, 24% have no savings. 35% are retiring later than they expected. 25% will never retire. 64% relies mainly on Social Security. Next slide. This slide right here. This is a snapshot from the Social Security website. We even left the URL up there so you can see for yourself. In 2035, Social Security will only pay out 75% of benefits. So if you're receiving $1,000 now, 2035, you'll only get $750. And that's not enough. Next slide. So in 1986, the government came up with this plan, and it's the Tamar Act. Tamara, sorry. And it's a savings plan, and this is how you can take advantage. So, life, sick, die. So, if you're 59 and a half, there's no rule for you to take out your money in this plan. There's no tax on your gains, meaning if you had a harvest, if you had a farm and you paid $10 for your seeds and your harvest was $100,000, would you rather pay taxes on that $10 investment or the $100,000 you made? You'd rather pay it on the $10. And you have no market losses. Like 401k plans, it is directly tied to the stock market. When the stock market crashed like it did in 2008, yeah, it directly affects your money, but not with this plan. And if you're sick, this plan offers long-term care living benefits, which you can receive monthly, whether that's chronic or critical or terminal illnesses. And it has a death benefit. So when you pass on, you can leave money to a beneficiary. Next slide. Okay, so how do you activate your long-term care? This is how you do it. There's 6 things. So bathing, continence, dressing, eating, toileting, and transferring. So if you cannot complete 2 out of 6 of these, you will be able to get long-term care money. So say you can't wash your hair and you can't drive, you will be able to get your money. Next slide. Let's just look at the annual costs of things. About $16,000 for adult daycare a year. About $27,000 for home maker service, and that's only 4 hours a day. $30,000 for home health aid, and that's 4 hours a day. $39,000 for a one-bedroom in an assisted living. $73,000 for a semi-private nursing home, and $82,000 for a private nursing home. Those numbers are very high. And then we're looking at Social Security. There's no way that you would be able to cover even 1 year with Social Security. Next slide. It's my last slide. So, as I stated, I joined the business because of really the life insurance piece. That's what spoke to me. And we do so much more than just life insurance. We do life and health, college planning, investments, PNC, estate planning, debt solution. Sarah is you're the Medicare guru. I got lost when she was training me. She was like, okay, this is part A, this is part B, part C. I was like, are we going to go through the whole alphabet? When am I going to understand this Medicare? So that's why I brought her up. It's not about what you know. It's about who you know. And I know resources that can help change your life and transform your life. So if you see anything that we can help you with, we are the one-stop shop. We would love for you to come by our office and sit down and speak with us. And with that being said, I think that's my last slide, right? I have some more giveaways. All right, so who is the oldest person here? What's the oldest age? 82? Somebody in here 82? You 89? 90 next month? Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna give you and one of your friends can go out to eat at Olive Garden for your birthday. Hold on, I'm not finished yet. You're her friend. I'm your friend too, don't forget that. All right, we have a fan for you because it is hot outside. So this is a portable fan. You take it wherever you go. So when you turn into your next age, honey, you can be cool. All right, so I have one last gift card, and I think how I'm gonna do this one is whose birthday is closest to today? What is your birthday? June? Oh, that's like next week. Yes, what I'm saying. That's the closest. That's so soon. Okay, well, come on, man. You're gonna go to Texas Roadhouse. You don't have to share it with me. I'm just kidding. No, you can't do that anymore. You haven't been, have you, in a long time, since COVID? No, you cannot throw your peanuts on the floor. I did too, but it's unsanitary now. Okay. Oh my goodness. Do you have any tickets can I draw from? All right.
We are the people with red tickets.
Red.
This is for the $100 gift card that she donated.
Yes. This was donated by Axianter, our firm. Okay, I will. Okay, I got Bobby, let it be her ticket. All right, are we ready? 4, 1, 3. I hear a winner. You can always hear somebody clapping. We got a winner. Let's give it up. 413.
Woo! Come get this $100.
Congratulations, Miss Gwen. Yeah. Before I pass over the mic, does anybody have any questions regarding anything we went over today? It is a lot to digest, but it's important that we understand so we can make better decisions that will affect us in the long run. Yes? There is no fee for our service because we truly believe in no family being left behind. A lot of financial advisors, they charge. You got to have $250,000 to even sit down with them. But us, we believe in helping you genuinely. Mission before commission. So we do not charge for helping you. Yes, brother? So you're saying if you're on disability and you have Medicaid, Medicare, partial Sarah, do you know?